everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
We are just chilling here. It is our second episode of Everyday Crown Rocker TV. And so on the show, you have Jasmine. Jasmine, introduce yourself, please.
I am Jasmine, your crown. What should I be? I don't know. I got to figure out like a cute title. I am all things crown rocking, helping to motivate, inspire, encourage, and equip you to co-create a life that matters in partnership with your Heavenly Father.
Yep, awesome. So she's the president, she's the founder, she's the director in charge, she's the creative idea person. Yeah, she's all that. CEO. Yeah, and it's her magazine that we're celebrating today. It's the 1-year anniversary. Even though this is show 2, we are still celebrating because we're going to celebrate all year. And we also have Theresa here. Theresa, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, my name is Theresa Horne, and I am the founder and lead trainer of Sisterhood of Strong.
What is Sisterhood of Strong, Theresa?
Sisterhood of Strong is it's a business where we support women as they eliminate the barriers to living a healthy lifestyle. So we support women as they become strong physically, emotionally, and in their soul care to walk out their purpose that God's called them to.
So that's basically how they rock their crown. They get stronger physically, emotionally. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you. She is actually our guest today on show number 2. And I'm Danica Diva. I'm a hope and life coach and author. I don't know, musician, crazy lady, just loves the Lord. And Theresa, we ask everybody, what does rocking your crown mean to you? And how do you do that?
All right. So for me, rocking my crown is really about embracing I want to say my position, but that kind of is as a sister of Christ, daughter of God. But so the more I understand who I am in God, the more that's how I rock my crown. And so to me has been revealed as I seek God more. I can understand more how much He loves me, and that helps me rock my crown more. And as I rock my crown more, I get closer to God, and then so it's like a cycle. And I have to say, I remember I just met Jasmine about a year ago at a retreat we were at together, and I remember meeting her and like, what was this young lady here? And watching her flow in the gifts that God has given her. And so I don't know if I want to tell that story. Oh, yep, it comes up. All right, Holy Spirit. So anyway, you ready? You ready, Jasmine? So there's this story. So Jasmine was ministering to someone and she got telling the whole thing, girl. Sorry. She got sick to her stomach.
Yes,
she got kind of like sick to her stomach. And like not like it wasn't visual, guys, but it was like I could see she got sick to her stomach because I am a very visual person. God shows me pictures, so I saw her get sick to her stomach, and I was like, "Ooh, Lord, I don't want that gift."
The first time I found out I had that gift, I was like, God, what is going on? I was like, what is this?
But in that gifting, she was able to minister to this person in a way that I had never seen before. So it was very cool situation. So anyway, so then that's where I met Jasmine at the retreat. And then probably, I don't know, a couple weeks later, she asked me if I wanted to be a contributor for the magazine. And my first reaction to that was like, I don't know about that. And then just prayed about it, and God was like, yeah, well, why not? Yes, you're going to do that. So, and then it's kind of been a whole journey from there, and we've become really good friends. So it's been wonderful, and just in that friendship, in that sisterhood, she showed me how to rock my crown, and kind of she's taught me things from the way she rocks her crown. So it's been a really good relationship for me.
That's wonderful. I did notice that you have been a contributor into almost every magazine, and I'm going to share my screen right now so people can see an example. Here was one of your articles, and it was on, is your physical fitness getting on your praise? And can you tell us a little bit about that article?
That was a good one.
Well, it's funny. One of the things that God has shown me is just how every part of our lives are connected to God. I think I used to segment, this part is what I do, and then this is my church part. I would segment the parts of my life. And God's like, no. I am a part of all of your life. We live holistically. And so for exercise, that's praise. Our bodies are created to move. And instead of thinking of exercise as a chore or something you have to do, we are lucky and blessed to be able to move our bodies. And so we can use that as worship, and we can use that as praise.
So neat. That's so cool. We're constantly learning about things like that, and I heard a speaker say, don't say I have to, but I get to. I think I shared that last night with you. I get to exercise because, there's days where you can't exercise. You're stuck in bed or after surgery or, and so I just a reminder of all of that. So do you have a life verse that you cling to or that helps you rock your crown?
I do. I have my vision board up, and I have a verse up there. I'm actually going to read it. It's First Corinthians 9:26 and 27. Therefore I run thus, not with uncertainty. Thus I fight, not as one who beats the air, but I discipline my body and I bring it into submission, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified. And I paraphrase it in my head that, like, Theresa, you're just not running aimlessly. You're not like punching at the air. You are going to discipline your body. You get to discipline your body. I like that. I'm going to add that. And because all that talking and preaching you don't want to be disqualified at the end because you weren't focused. So that's the way I paraphrase it in my head. And that just helps me because I like to do. Like, I'm a doer, and God wants me to be, he created me to be, and out of that being with him to serve. So that's how I think about it. And that
I will add over here that I think that that's like a key verse for you, that you show, you live out that verse so effortlessly, watching you live it out and watching you flow and watching you like push through was like, oh, maybe I do have enough in me for one more rep, but also that it's not for nothing. Like there's rhyme and there's reason, and that it is praise, it is worship, and I'm using my body. It's a different form of praise and worship, Yeah, you live that verse out so well.
Thank you.
And I think it's interesting because there's different areas. Like, you might be dealing with wellness and living it out, but there's also, joy or hope during the trials that we go through, or it could be just healing as we're, how we're walking in God's grace or strength in our crisis and the need for healing, and, might be waiting for that job. Like, it's anything really. It's not just that whole idea can be transferred over to say, yeah, we need that. Tell us about your family.
Oh yeah, so I am married. We've been married 25 years. I always get years and stuff messed up, but 25 years. We have 5 sons, and we homeschool. We've homeschooled since my oldest was in 3rd grade, so the younger boys have always been home.
What made you want to homeschool?
God. It was definitely not like I had totally I think before, I can actually remember being in Target once, talking to one of my friends, and she was thinking about sending her little one to like preschool or something like that. And I was like, you should definitely send them to preschool because there are trained people there who are qualified, and you definitely shouldn't do that at home because that's not something that that we should do. We should send them to professionals. And yeah. And then God was like, I want you to bring the boys home, because at the time my son, he was in third grade, and then I think Reese was, I don't know if he was in school yet. He was in maybe like fours or something like that. And I would take the boys, be picking them up from school, and we would listen to Family Life Radio. And there was a segment called Homeschool Heartbeat, I think. And it was, like 5 minutes about homeschooling or whatever. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And I just remember the Lord was just started tugging at me. And I was just like, what? I'm not going to do that. I have this aspiration, and I've got this I want to do in my work life, and I can't do that. And so we ended up bringing the boys home, and we're just taking it year by year.
So God asked you to rock your homeschool crown or your teacher crown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said yes. That's what this show's all about. Like, we say yes when God asks us to go forward and rock our crown. However that is. Yeah. It might be like, go give that stranger coffee or pray over them randomly or whatever, like we're supposed to obey. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's great. What's a random fact about your family or you or your business? Just something random.
I like to box. I know that's random. Again, and it's kind of funny because my verse has boxing in it. I just connected that. But yeah, so I like to box, and I have a heavy bag in the basement.
Yes,
your kids
box very hard in that kickboxing class. Like, first of all, Theresa, you're getting too hot with these jabs and hooks. Okay, I need you to bring it down like a notch, because I don't know who you're punching, but glad it's not me. So I'm not surprised that you like to box. I mean, I've seen you boxing the air. I'm like, woo! Tony, better watch out.
It is very fun. And it's fun to see the people in my class boxing, because it's very cathartic, like get a lot of energy out and we don't hurt anybody. So it's really good.
What's the biggest obstacle that you've faced? How'd you overcome it? Maybe even how your boxing or your physical health helped you to overcome it.
You should tell us your weight loss journey. I mean, I've heard it plenty times, but I do think it's a good story.
All right. So I guess, and in that story, the biggest obstacle with that was me. And that's really what I was thinking about. Like, the biggest obstacle is always me getting in the way of what God wants to do, right? Dragging my feet, not listening, that kind of stuff. It's usually always me. So in the weight loss story part, when I was 38, I wanted to lose weight, and I was, trying to lose weight and looking at 40, like, oh, I'm going to be 40. And, I had all these, by the time I'm 40, I should have done this, this, and this. And by the time I'm 40, I want to have my weight, under control. So I started trying to lose weight really aggressively. I would say, when I say aggressively, I mean, I was being really serious about it and dedicated and trying to be consistent, working out at the Y. And I was doing a weight loss program, working with my doctor, and I was not losing weight the way I thought I should. And I remember praying about it and feeling like, God, you can do anything. So let's get this weight thing together. Like, you can help me with this. So let's get it together. And it wasn't happening. I remember going to my doctor, and she suggested weight loss surgery. And I was like, nah, that's not it. That's not it. So time went on, and eventually I decided to go to a weight loss surgery informational meeting. And I went. It made sense to me. And then I prayed about it, and God was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had weight loss surgery and I lost 150 pounds. So it was successful. And for me, the big lesson with that, I really wanted to lose the weight a certain way. I wanted, to have this a very different kind of story, really. And that was not the way that God wanted me to lose the weight. So for me, it was hard to, I think of it in my mind, when I think of it, it was like when you have to bend your knee, like when God was like, okay, I need you to bend your knee. And it was almost like he had, I'm a little hard headed, and he kind of had to like hit it. Like, I'm asking you to bend your knee. And I think of my weight loss journey, that whole journey is kind of in three pieces. And so when I talk about Sisterhood of Strong, it's body, mind, and soul. So for me, the weight loss surgery, that journey, figuring out, for me, I had to then, I lost the weight, and then I had to figure out a new life. So body was the weight loss surgery. And then mind, I had to renew my mind, because you have to change the way you eat. It's one thing to lose weight, and then it's another thing to keep the weight off. So you have to change your lifestyle to keep the weight off, because if you don't, you just gain the weight back. We all know people who've lost weight and then they've gained the weight back. So I had to change my lifestyle. So that was my mind. I had to renew my mind. There was this process the Lord, walked me through, where I had to renew my mind. And you have to renew your mind daily, but that was something that I had to learn as well, right? So that was body, renewing of my mind. And then I got to the place where I was like, okay, I've got the exercise down, I've got the healthy eating down. And then there was a point where I still had an emptiness that would come up that I wanted to fill. And I wanted to fill it with food, right? Wow. So I remember being in the kitchen at the pantry and feeling like I am so hungry. And then having a moment where I was like, the renewing in my mind, I was like, that's not logical. You're not hungry. You just ate an hour ago. You know how much food you ate. You're not hungry. So what is that? Right. And so to that part, there was emotional and there was soul healing that I needed to go through. There were layers that I needed to heal. And there was a emptiness that I needed to fill, but it wasn't about food. So that was the soul part. And so that's why with Sisterhood of Strong, there's three components to really living a healthy lifestyle. And we want to eliminate the barriers to get you to be able to walk in your strength. So in all three of those.
Wonderful story. Yeah, seriously. Is that how you chose your name?
So I chose my name actually because I feel like there's such power in sisterhood, women supporting other women, because the things we've talked about, they're not easy, but they're also not they're not common to only me. I think that many women have these issues, and as we support each other as we walk this journey, there's a special power in that. And so that's how I came to the name, because it's a sisterhood.
Yeah. Oh, we have a little section in the show about a little tidbit. What's a tidbit that you want to give us?
The thing that's coming to my mind is actually about hunger. We think about hunger, and I think it can be, you can have three kinds of hunger. We can have physical hunger, like a need for energy. And then we can have hunger that's mental, like, you think you're hungry. So like if you walk into the room and you smell apples and cinnamon and butter, and you weren't hungry before, pie, exactly. You weren't hungry before, but as soon as you walk into that room, you're like hungry, right? So that's in your head, it's triggered by your senses, it's in your head. And then there's a hunger that is only Christ can fill. So when we experience, oh, I'm hungry, to take a moment and be like, okay, what actually, what am I feeling? Really just kind of what that is. Because I think most of us will come to a point where that's the root of the issue, is we're not identifying where that I'm hungry is coming from. What kind of hunger is it? And most Americans, we can say, I have plenty of time to figure that out. I'm not going to starve anytime soon. Because I think there's also this urgency. Oh, I'm hungry. I have to eat right away. Most of us got a little fluff that we could work with, that we don't have to eat right away. Like we could be okay if we put it off for a while. If anybody's ever fasted, if you've ever done any fasting, you'll be fine without eating for a while. And yet, when we just went to Meijer, we just went to Target, and we're driving home, I'm starving. We have to eat right now. We have to stop for fast food. No, I'm pretty sure you don't. Like, but it's a mental thing. So, we think we have to have fast food, but we really don't. So just kind of think about that.
I'd add one. I have a friend who always comes, oh, it's 12 o'clock. It's time to eat. So even if that person ate it, breakfast at 8 or breakfast at 11, it's 12 o'clock. So I need to eat. And I always say, well, the time on the clock doesn't determine whether if you're hungry or not, And it's just who we are. Like, we are kind of programmed about stuff. Like, that's part of renewing your mind with
absolutely.
Like the sugar gets me, man.
I want your birthday cake, but
Listen, okay. Before we started recording, I probably had like 2 cupcakes. And I was like, girl, you gotta stop. I was like, that is probably your entire sugar, intake for like the whole week. Right. But right now, there's a stray cupcake that somebody left that's in my line of sight that I'm trying very hard not to look at, because I'm like, you don't need it. You already had 2, and you have not had your walk today.
Yeah. It's so interesting though, but those are valid. That's valid. It's a valid emotion, and those are valid feelings. I think so when we talk about that, like, I want a cupcake, right? Because I want it because it's going to make me feel better. Cupcakes, sugary stuff, they're comfort foods. We call them comfort foods because they're comforting. But just to take the time to think about, oh, that's what I'm wanting that for. Not to say you're bad for wanting it, but to understand that's what it is. And then to make the decision, knowing that I'm really wanting this cupcake because it's going to make me feel better. Do I still want to decide to have it? And if the answer is yes, then have the cupcake, enjoy the cupcake, and then walk away.
Oh, see, there's no condemnation in that. I like
that. There's not. Yeah.
I don't think we're bad for it, but I think we programmed ourselves for it, right? Like, oh, it's your birthday party, you have to have cake. No, you don't. No.
Yeah.
We think that's our normal, and if you don't, like, what's wrong with you not having cake? Or I heard one lady speak on this, and she's like, well, why do we think Velveeta cheese is normal? It's not even in the dairy section. But we're like, no, you can't have mac and cheese without Velveeta. And who made cheese that's not cheese normal? So we're programmed by society, by our upbringing, and that's part of what you do, I believe, is help break the programming. Programming might be, I'm just going to sit and watch TV and I'm not going to exercise or whatever, And so
right.
I know for me, I'm on very limited, restricted diet, and I eat to live. And sometimes I don't even eat to live because it's like not worth it when you can't eat things you enjoy, like celery, avocado makes me go into anaphylaxis, and you never know. And so this is my second time round too with this disease. And so it's so interesting to have to mindset shift. And today the family was making chocolate croissants for a birthday party. They're like, do you want one? I'm like, I know I'll go into anaphylaxis eating that. So I'm like, it doesn't even entice me, right? Because it's so drastic of pain and my body shutting down and hyper drugs and, blood pressure crashing. So it's kind of weird when you're on the other side. It's like you barely eat to live. Okay, so tea is my only pleasure. Sometimes I don't throw up and sometimes I do. But that's like my only guilty pleasure because, it's it's not really good for my body, but it's a mindset shift, and so
it is. It is, and you make a very good point though about how we're programmed to expect certain foods and certain things and everything. And one of the things we do talk about is how can we change that? Especially I think about my kids. I want to try to change that for them, so when they grow up, they don't have that expectation of necessarily cake on their birthdays, because it's funny, you'll talk to different families and a lot of their kids don't even like cake,
Right.
like the mom will like, oh, I'm making cake, and like the kids don't even really eat it. But if you do that for 15 years of a child's life, they come to expect it, even if they didn't really like it. They're programmed to then, expect cake. So, and we do it. I mean, like, how many times have we done the first birthday party and the baby has the cake and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Right. So we, but we can do something different. We can do something different. And for me, I had, it wasn't until like kind of I lost the weight that I realized that I had put myself in this little box of what I could do. And part of that was because, at the size that I was limited because physically things were difficult, but then also mentally I had boxed myself in. So I just remember just kind of feeling a new freedom, like we could do this, like we could go for a walk on, for this, celebration instead of going out to eat, because we, going out to eat and dinners and meals is, often a way we celebrate. And it's not like we do it with salad, it's not like we celebrate with vegetables, So it's just to open it up to more possibilities and to more activities and to other things.
All right, I have a fun question for you. What do you know now that you didn't know like 3 years ago?
I guess I have a different level of awareness of time. Time is limited in a different way. Like, your time is, you only have a certain amount of time. But we think about there's a time and a season for everything. And that I just have a different level of awareness of how I want to make the most of my time here, and how that means that a lot of the knowing, like no, when I say that, that's the type of no I mean, not knowing, but like the no I would do in my head, I would say, oh, you can't do this, or you shouldn't do that, or you can't do that. And a lot of that I would do is kind of like, now it's like, it's ridiculous. Well, why not? Like there's more, I have more freedom to walk out what I my ideas and my ideas, thoughts, purpose, things that I was like, that would be cool to do. I would like to do that, but I would know it. I would be like, no. So I have less of that. So less no and more go.
Yes, no, and more go. You need to make that into a meme quote if you haven't. There's a lady in another group, and she calls those badgers, where the badger's always telling you, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so she's like, the little badger's talking to me again, you're bad, or whatever, it's kind of like that. Maybe you have your own. That's good.
Good.
Yeah. It was interesting that you and Jasmine both answered the question about what's the obstacle, and that you both said me, that you're the obstacle that's stopping you. And I wonder if we're going to find that that's a trend through the show, that you're the obstacle, because we are so obstacles, whether it's believing the no or saying the no, or not, just canceling it, or I can't do it. Or
I do wonder if we'll see it as a trend, but I do also think, especially for our second show in, that it's awesome that it's the three of us on here, because both of you, in different ways, in your own way, shining your light as you shine, have both been instrumental in me letting go of my nose, like letting go of, why not now? Crown Rocker TV, why not now? Like if you think go, why not figure out how to do it? It won't be perfect, and to start to live in a way that my excuses don't necessarily dictate where I go. I do think that even just this conversation, you know, with Sisterhood of Strong, we're doing Crown Rocker TV, totally collaborative. I'll just put it into the universe that Theresa and I will do Crown Rocker Radio. It's coming. It's been in the works. So now it's in the universe. So now we have to do it. But just to see how, even just in conversations, just how much we can learn from each other, how much we can glean from each other, and how that can help you live strong, and how it can help you be intentional, and how it can help you rock your crown every day. And that's what this whole thing is about. So
let's rabbit trail to excuses. Okay, so tell me excuses you use that make us go from no into the no mode versus the go mode, and then other excuses.
I know for me, I'm not ready yet. Like I need to get it perfect. So I need to figure it out some more. I need to have a backup plan. So giving something perfect, having things lined up, knowing the whole plan. That's a big one. The conversation that we have, me and God have, is like, Theresa, you're not gonna know the whole plan. This is your step. You have to take this step. And I'm like, well, God, clearly you don't understand me, because I need the whole plan if we're gonna do this. And God's like, no. So the Lord's given me a visual of a dance, and I've shared this before, but I feel like he showed up, like for the waltz, and he's like, come on, let's dance. And I was like, I don't even think I know this dance. Like, I don't know this dance. And God's like, come on, I'm leading. So I joined the dance, and I just follow. So for me, when the no comes up, God is like, come on, this is the dance, and this is your step. Just follow the steps. And so for me, it's a very visual thing. And there's times when I'm like, I don't know where the dance gonna go. Is this a dip? And God's just like, just come on. So I'm not sure if that answered your question, but that's where I am.
And when you look in scripture, Moses was just told to go. He was not given the blueprint. And I always think of the Jordan River, because when they crossed, it didn't stop flowing till they stepped into the river, and it was flood stage. We're so afraid to step into the river, even though the Lord is our back over and over and over, obviously. So, like, why do we so hesitantly come dance with me? It's not like I'm going to drag you, like, why? He's proven himself over and over, but why do we listen to those excuses? Why do we keep going down that rabbit trail? How about you, Jasmine?
My no's are usually a lot of like self-worth, self-doubt, identity type no's, like, you're not smart enough. My big one, which I'll be honest, which is why I didn't want to do Crown Rocker TV. No, because my teeth are jacked up. I will say no because I have an accent. Like, I mean, why? Who cares? But, so things like that. It's usually self-worth things. You put on that 30 pounds, so now you're disqualified. Or, you don't look a certain way, or you don't sound a certain way, or so a lot of that. But I think, over this last year, and a lot of it too has come out of literally one step at a time. Like, even like I said on episode 1, the magazine was literally an idea when I was washing the dishes, and it was like, just take that step, and then the next step, and the next step. And so for me, my no's always came out of identity, like not feeling worthy enough, not feeling qualified enough, just not feeling enough, whatever enough was. And so it's been a lot of work in terms of realigning my identity to be like, you are enough, you are worthy, I wired you a certain way. And also I'm not putting that on you. I'm not saying, start Crown Rocker TV when you fix your accent. And did I say that? All I said was, collaborate on this thing, reach out, ask the question, have the conversation, and then I got the rest. I think a lot of us struggle with that, the not enoughs and the identity piece. Like, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. You struggle. I think especially as women, the enemy is so quick to attack our identity and who we are. And I think for me, that's why I'm so even just passionate about us learning to rock our crowns, because the essence at its core, you have your crown because you are his child. He crowned you as his child. And so it's in everyday, whatever circumstance you're in, to realign with, what is my identity in this place? Who am I, as a mom? Who am I as a person? Who am I as a business person? Who am I in my weight? Who am I in my dreams and my goals? And realizing, wait a second, like, he crowned me his child. Like, and then living from that place. So
maybe that's part of the secret, because you are not enough. You don't have the journalism degree. But when God crowns you and you know who you are in him, he makes you enough because he's enough.
I like that.
I just think, like it says, in our weakness, we're made strong because of God, God is enough, and he gives you what you need. So you're enough in essence. So yeah, those are good rabbit trails. But that's the whole point of Crown Rocker, is that everybody can say yes to whatever God says and freely go into that, We're very glad that, Theresa, you have done that. We have a couple of questions, like, where can we find you? Do you have any cool resources? That type of thing.
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook at Sisterhood of Strong, on Instagram at Sisterhood of Strong, and at my website, sisterhoodofstrong.com. And as far as resources, I have a free Facebook group where we have all types of cool resources. One of my favorites is a meal planning essentials sheet. So every Sunday we do meal prep. That's the day I choose to meal prep, which you don't have to choose Sunday, just to pick one day out of the week that works best for you and your family to prepare kind of for the week. And I have a list of things that are helpful to have in your kitchen to help with meal prep. So that's one resource.
Do you coach? Do you just do meal plan? Do you do fitness? Like, tell us a little bit more of other things that you do besides boxing, homeschooling, and helping, tell us what else, like, what other things?
Yeah, so my, I guess right now I'm doing more and more just coaching. I have a program called Warrior Woman, and it's a coaching program where we help, just like I was talking about, we help align your body, mind, and soul. So we work on whatever the barriers are, and it's very individualized. So I, just super honest, in the past, I have done things where one of the questions you asked earlier, with, like the random thing about the industry, in the fitness industry, there's this push to put everyone in a program, in a boot camp, and everybody do it together. But I find that, we have some things that are similar, but sometimes our issues are individualized. So I am working on being able to coach women with their individual, have an individual component, but also that sisterhood component together. So that's the program, the Warrior Woman program that I'm working on offering right now. So that's kind of my newest baby. But I also have classes, coaching boxing and strength training, and those happen weekly. And then a Plan to Eat program that happens quarterly, where we teach you the meal planning system that I work, and show everybody to be able to make meal planning and healthy eating a habit. Because what happens is, we have these good intentions, but when stress happens or life happens, those big, beautiful plans go out the window. So we want to make healthy eating a habit, and then you don't have to think about it. It's just kind of on autopilot.
Very neat. So before we go, we do want to remind our audience to like, subscribe, read the magazine, listen to the magazine, write for the magazine, support the magazine. It's $4.99 to join, and that small fee covers all of it. Any last minute, anything you want to share with us?
The last thing that I want to share is, and I thought about it as we were just talking, when I first started on my journey to being healthy, black was my favorite color. And I used to love to wear black, and I still do love to wear black. But the more that I accepted and stepped into my identity in Christ, I have embraced colors, wearing colors. And I was thinking about it last night, because now like pink and orange and yellow, I like those colors because I think and I still like black because it's very slimming, but I think I liked it because I felt like I could hide in black. And so now I'm more colorful because there's less hiding. So that's my last thing.
I love it. So what I got out of your little, our talk today, our girl chill time, was less know and more go. I also like that sometimes God has to give you smack you upside the head kind of surrender lesson. And warrior woman, I kept thinking of Ephesians. And, we put on the full armor of God. And right now I'm in a group that's reading Philippians every single day, all 4 chapters, or listening. And I was reading with a friend. I thought, well, I'll put on Facebook, 40 people signed up. Everybody wants to read the Word of God. So I think my next group's going to be Warrior Woman Ephesians group. We're the Philippians Trailblazers group. And because we want to be warriors, right? And we need to read the Word, and we need to imprint that onto our life. So I love that as well. But I really like less know and more go. We are going to close with one final tip from Jasmine and myself. So my tip is be intentional, and
mine is rock your crown every day.
Go rock your crown. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today, and we will love to see you on the next episode. Bye.